It is luxury cars from England. It is fashions from the Far East. It is oranges from the rich soil of California. It is steel from Illinois, vehicles from Michigan and Ohio, breakfast cereal from the Niagara frontier, and golf clubs from Massachusetts. It is 36,000 employees and over 13,000 route miles, serving America's revitalized industrial and consumer heartland. It is 7 of the top 10 consumer markets in the United States, with the most concentrated purchasing power in the world. It is the single most vital link, both nationally and internationally, in this country's material distribution system. It is aggressive, imaginative, and innovative. It is the cooperation of men and machines making the right moves. It is Conrail today. In today's highly competitive transportation market, if you want the business, you have to go after it with the service and ingenuity that gives you an edge. Services like Conrail's inventory distribution centers for commodities such as steel and lumber, or the just-in-time service tailored for Chrysler that delivers exactly the right mix of parts for a single day's production, once a day, every day. Servicing Detroit and the nation's newly emerging foreign auto manufacturers, Conrail is the largest transporter of parts and finished vehicles in this country.
Jay, you and I talked a couple of weeks ago about Ford's new approach to JIT, our new organization.
Charles F. Wilkins, manager of transportation procurement, Ford Motor Company, talks to Jay Beelan, Conrail's head of automotive marketing.
Serving all of the origin plants in all these cities? Conrail has a top-class organization. They are generally proactive rather than reactive. They're constantly bringing us new proposals for our attention. They beat us to the punch on some occasions.
What we've been designing is a network using Toledo as a hub and providing the quality product distribution that you're looking for.
With the focus primarily on traffic that originates on Conrail or?
On Conrail, or off Conrail, interline.
Since Conrail serves more of our manufacturing plants than any other railroad, they will be absolutely critical to any development of just-in-time manufacturing systems. We couldn't have such a program without Conrail's participation. And they're also a major part of our vehicle distribution in the Northeast. When I think of Conrail today, I think of a railroad with whom we have, practically speaking, a problem-free relationship. They've responded very well to our needs for on-time service and for damage-free handling of our assembled vehicles. And there's every likelihood that we'll be doing more business with Conrail in the future.
From autos to oranges, dedicated problem solving with an eye to the future. The kind of premium service that helped Conrail increase its piggyback shipments of perishables into the Northeast by 600% since 1979.
Because of the dynamics of the produce business, which is understandably an ever-changing business with prices often rising and falling daily, we in turn need carriers that are able to respond quickly to those needs in terms of pricing and service.
Lawrence Stern, Director of Transportation for Sunkist Growers, the nation's largest shipper of perishable goods.
In 1979, we moved perhaps 150 trailers via piggyback. 1/8 of 1% of our total tonnage moving to interstate destinations. In the year just concluded, we moved approximately 10,000 trailers. It represented about 20% of our business, and in the year that we are currently operating in, piggyback is going to be well over 25% of our business. Conrail happens to handle about 2/3 of that tonnage. They have been very responsive when we have called with a pricing or operational problem. And in all, we're very satisfied with the level of service we've received from Conrail.
This particular market here is really Sunkist orientated because of the quality. We take a lot of time displaying our fruit, and it's very, very important that the fruit arrives damage-free.
Conrail is the lifeline for the produce industry and many other industries into the eastern part of the country.
Dave Gotts, District Sales Manager for Sunkist in Boston.
We're professional in picking, packing, and selling and marketing our fruit. Conrail is the pro when it comes to the transportation end of our business.
Delicate cargo, handled with extreme care, attention to detail, and imagination. All components of premium class service, whether for a single customer or for a volume shipper. Working successfully with nearly 130 volume shippers across the country is Conrail's key to future intermodal success. Bill Habeck, president of Bay State Shippers, New England's largest volume shipper.
As a shipper's agent, we're in the rail intermodal transportation business, and we work with Conrail almost as a partner in designing transportation systems for our customers that meet their specific needs.
Okay, that trailer arrived in Chicago, 51st Street this morning.
Okay.
And the patron was notified at 8:30 a.m.
We tie into Conrail's computers daily to get shipment status information for all our customers, and this helps them in their just-in-time programs for production and for delivery to their customers.
We are a large consuming region in Conrail territory, as everyone knows, and I think that's why we win and they win.
Sofia Garcia, Conrail's account representative to the government of Mexico in Houston, Texas.
Sofia Garcia speaking. Buenos días, Ingeniero Díaz. Gracias por su llamada. Suppliers in Mexico, in their approach to seeking markets, they need to be aware of what the ins and outs of getting their product to those markets. We, as major carrier in the Northeast, have got to prove that we can reduce that cost to them by putting together competitive transportation packages.
A key element in the package is technology. With track geometry analysis, onboard computers, and computerized traffic control, Conrail not only keeps pace with current advances, it participates in the most forward-looking developments in the field, such as innovative stress reduction systems. Gerhard Thelen, Conrail's Director of Mechanical Engineering.
And the strap attaches where? Right here?
Right on the strap there with the wheel chock design.
Conrail is very committed to technology as it applies to railroads, and especially as it applies to improving the quality of our service and the safety of our service and reliability. Once you're done with it, you just slide it out this way.
Right.
One beneficiary of Conrail's technological leadership, Jaguar.
Those cars that we import through Port Newark for our eastern zone, 40% of those vehicles we ship by Conrail to areas that we normally would have brought vehicles through by another seaport.
Louis F. Brickmeyer, U.S. Traffic Manager for Jaguar Cars.
By the reduction of the ports of entry, we cut our overhead. We now have our products in one area that we can service our dealers through this one market area, and we are now moving our cars by rail and by truck beyond at a much less of a cost than we did in the past.
Diverse consumer goods, as delicate as an orange or a Jaguar, as time-sensitive as the latest fashion. In the garment industry, a delay can mean the canceling of a retail order or missing the crest of a hot fashion fad. The journey between the factory and the marketplace becomes a critical concern. Landbridge, an important part of world transport, saving valuable transit time to speed fashions and other international goods to American households.
The APL Conrail Landbridge service from Asia into the northeast of the United States is probably one of the premier services in the marketplace today. They take 8 to 10 days to reach the west coast of the U.S. We interchange the cargo to the western railroads at that point, which carry it on through to Chicago, interchange it to Conrail and full train load lots for final destination at the eastern coast markets.
Don Orris is the president of American President Intermodal.
Total transit from Asia, 14, 15 days. It's up to 2 weeks faster than the all-water alternatives in the marketplace, and we believe it to be the premier Landbridge service in the market. Conrail is obviously an integral part of that. Not only do they provide the consistent service between Chicago and the East Coast, but they allow some of the operation of the most efficient trains in the U.S. today in terms of size and economics. The primary East Coast service, of course, is into Kearney, New Jersey. It's the biggest market on the East Coast for the import cargoes, represents probably 60-65% of our volume into the Northeast.
Premium service on a regional, national, or international scale, working with other modes of transport in fully orchestrated cooperation wherever necessary.
Most railroads, but especially this railroad, has moved ahead in that we've been able not only to recapture business, but to hold business that many thought would be lost to trucks years ago.
Conrail's Vice President, Transportation, Don Swanson.
The thinking of all of our operating people, especially in conjunction with sales and marketing, is that we can do it better than anybody else can.
Realistically, it's a win-win situation for everybody involved here.
A customer comes to you and says, I have a problem. I know I didn't ship the car early enough, but can you do something for me?
Charles Allen, General Manager of Conrail's Southern Tier Operations.
With Conrail, we have the opportunity to respond to that type of thing when it really counts. If you can come through, he then counts on you for year after year, not just for individual car shipments.
In an account like Nabisco, the only way for a carrier to cover our account is to have a dedicated account rep. We're so large and have so many people involved that the representative really almost has to become part of our transportation department, and Conrail has done that.
Charles L. Taylor, Director of Transportation for Nabisco Brands.
Henry, about that offer to move the piggybacks from Niagara Falls down to Jersey City to this yard, I think that's a good idea. I think Conrail, as usual, is competitive with the trucking industry. What kind of service can we look for on that?
Second morning.
Solving the customer's particular problem is Conrail's key to the transportation puzzle. From the overall complexion of the shipper, its outlook and service philosophy, right down to the ultimate delivered product.
American Honda is really proud of this new facility. We can spot 40 rail cars at a time, load out 600 automobiles.
Richard D. Frick, Traffic Manager, Automobile Distribution for American Honda.
Our initial request was for 150 cars, and after that test, the service met our expectations, and now we have 250 rail cars assigned to the American Honda fleet at Marysville, Ohio, to distribute our products to the northeastern dealers, as well as our eastern and southeastern dealers. Conrail's improved clearances on the routes to the northeast, as well as the equipment that they have supplied, has allowed American Honda to increase our rail shipments to our dealer network. We've had some problems in different parts of the country with some of our rail services. But as far as the East Coast and some of the areas we have around Ohio, Chicago, specifically those areas served by Conrail, we've had very few damage claims whatsoever.
Almaden Vineyards, California's oldest operating winery.
This product's headed right for the market, right off the line, so...
Richard C. Stevens, Director of Distribution.
We've got excellent feedback from our distributors about Conrail. Some of that has come in the form of no damage claims, good service, quality service, definitely. We have seen an increase in intermodal transportation within the recent last 4 to 5 years. About 95% of our merchandise travels by container shipment. We need to get it to the market as soon as we can, have a competitive price when it gets there.
It is wine and fine crystal, fashion and high tech. It is service and sensibility that permeates every level of operations. It is responsiveness to a shipper's needs, with an appreciation for the current situation and an eye on tomorrow.
Looks pretty good from what I can see. The only thing we've got left to do is to modify our locomotive agreement with Chessie so that we can use their run-through power in this train all the way from Florida to right up to North Jersey.
Will that be a problem mechanically if we use their locomotives, Tom?
No. Well, now this is really a very exciting time for all of us on Conrail.
Stuart Reed, the president of Conrail.
We serve the center of the manufacturing area of the country. We serve a highly populated and hence high consumer area in the United States. We're fast, we route our traffic efficiently, and the bottom line is that we're in a position to concentrate on premium service. That's exactly what we do, and we have all of our employees behind us.